Hey y'all, it's me again, Joey.
Well, ready to let them loose?
Yep, that's it. Let's see if they make us run.
Oh,
Probably so.
yeah, that one tried to get after him, but other than that, what can you expect? I mean, can you blame them? Oh yeah, they're getting after us now. Go, Joey, go!
Hey man!
Hey, man, buddy. I'm gonna get in the truck. You gotta go back and get your camera.
But also, just get as many as you can off the one next to it. Get out.
You gotta move away.
Do that side again. Y'all ready? Let's get started.
It's me again, Joey.
Hey,
You just got me.
I got some more sound on over here. Let me turn that off. There we go. How's everybody doing?
Good evening, folks. It's me and old me again.
We see them coming in now. Anybody over there in the chats want to come on in? We welcome y'all. More the merrier.
Hey, Darren, Shane, Richard, Southern Russell. I keep him and Russell Koopman. I call Russell Koopman Northern Russell.
Yeah.
Russell Heyman, Southern Russell.
I was sitting here waiting for the crowd to build up a little bit, and I looked over there and saw 7. Time I hit the start button, they started piling in here.
All right, good deal.
That's
I
good.
tell you, you're just well loved, Joseph. Well loved and well respected, so that's a good deal for you. I like to see you get stung.
Yeah. I actually, when I was making that, that's what I was going to do. Find everywhere I got stung and put it in there.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of give up. I said I had to put that together later. I had plans to go into that little it's an open air colony, but it's under one of my beehives. I had plans this today to actually remove them and get them in a box. I took my RV Saturday to the RV place and then was expecting them to call me yesterday evening to come get it today. So I was kind of scared to get started. So I think in the morning I'm going to go ahead and start it. And when I get through with that, I'm going to go get my RV where they through with it or not. Because I need it for the weekend. So that's going to be a fun little project. And I hope it makes a good little video. Moving it.
Probably will.
I tell you what I did before. They had built under, just like that. They had built under that thing. And all I did, they were attached to the bottom. And all I did was kind of move them over a little bit. The hive on top, I moved it over a little bit and set it on a new bottom and picked that whole bottom up and set it on top of a box and then closed. That was easy. It didn't even make much of a video. That was a long time ago. I want to say hey to everybody coming in over there. I hadn't had a chance to look at everything here.
You got a first timer, he says. Titus Smith, I believe it was. I noticed.
Who was that?
I believe he said he was his first view. Titus Smith, I believe his name is. It was Joey.
Right there. Welcome to the crowd.
Yeah. Good to hear from you, Titus. Where are you located?
We need us a subject for tonight. I hadn't even thought about nothing.
Well, we can
I'm
talk
hoping
fishing.
somebody in
Yeah,
the
I went
chat.
fishing today.
There we go. We're gonna call this a beekeeping and fishing chat. That's what we need to
Yeah.
do. Y'all
Well, it was
decide.
fishing mostly again today. I'm not doing very good right now. My crappie's on the move, and they're hard to keep track of right now. They're moving to different. The water's starting to cool down a little bit, and they're on the move.
Yeah.
Where they was, and I'm having trouble finding them. And I did some big work all afternoon. I went through. Let's see. I added. I had 2 single deeps that I wasn't real comfortable with getting through the winter. I put some.
Yeah.
I put a. They were real crowded, and I don't know, I might have made a mistake, but I added a super, with the drawn frames on them. See if they'll put a little more store with a little more stuff. I'm feeding the heck out of them. I'm going through 10 gallon of 10 gallon of sugar syrup a day right now. So
I hadn't even made no syrup all up.
that's 40 pounds of sugar a day. That gets a little rough, on the pocketbook.
Yeah. How many you feeding, you said?
I'm feeding 52 right now.
Mm.
The ones that's taking it, I've got some that's not taking much, but some of it's taking. I'm just giving them about equivalent of a quart a day is about what I'm giving them. But I think that some of them would take a gallon a day if I just shoot it to them, So
Yeah.
it's,
Again, I just want to say hey to everybody over in the chat. If you come in late, I've just got behind on pulling everybody up, saying hey to them. I just had to just kind of shout it out all at once. I don't see anybody with a question or something they need to say.
be sure and tell those folks if they got questions to keep them real simple, because we're kind of simple minded. I can give them some, what they call it, word garbage. Maybe I could give them some word garbage. I think that's the way to refer to it. Say a lot, not give out any information.
I was walking outside just now and it felt real cool. I said, let me check the temperature. It said 75. I thought it was already in the 60s.
Yeah.
The feel like was even 75.
Yeah. It's 60 here right now if my Waterbury is correct here. It was 80 here this afternoon.
We got a lot of goldenrod around here, and I could smell it by every beehive now. It's kind of gradually came in, and now anytime I walk up to any of them,
I'd say 90% of mine's turned brown. All I've got left of a little flow is a few asters, and they're very few. I'm saying I'm getting ready to go full time late summer, early fall dearth in my area.
Yeah.
That's the reason I'm feeding pretty stout, because I want to make sure my hives are good and heavy, so I'm not too concerned. I think I could, if I had to close them up tomorrow, I'd be in good shape. I've got them treated, and I give them a little oxalic acid here a little later on when they get the brood broke down a little more.
I've never had to ask anybody. I usually got people calling me. I guess just you know how to contact them. Just call them up or knock on their door.
Yeah.
See if they got a place you could put them where there's no cows or horses running around. Goats.
Where's
Especially
Tony
goats.
Creek? He's over in the Carolinas, is he not, Joy?
I'm not sure. But if I needed to find a place, I'd just try to find that landowner and go talk to him.
Yeah. I don't feed a lot of fondant, only, so I'm not a good person to forward that to. I don't think Joy
Yeah,
does either.
I never have used fondant.
Your good buddies up here at St. Louis over pop that Tom and Melissa's got a bee meeting tonight. They said they might
Yeah.
try to get on a little later, but Tom could come near answering your fondant questions, and then
Now, if it's anything like the syrup, I know when a flow's coming in, they'll just about stop taking that syrup in unless it's just dripping on them.
yeah,
I've seen it just sit there until the flow shut off.
yeah.
But I don't know if it would be the same or not.
Well, I'd say my next beginning flow is going to be about the 15th of February, where I'm at. It's going to be a day or two before I have another flow.
Then running off, leaving us.
Yeah. See you later, Brian. Flow 12 September.
Good gracious.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever seen a 12.
No. I know I have.
I've never seen a 15.
Nor have I. I would think you could about throw it up against the wall and it'd just stick if it was.
Yeah. You'd probably have to warm that up pretty good to get it to come out.
You know, my little farm market, I got an honor system farm market. Heck, they loaded me up today. I had, I think somebody came and took, well, it was different ones, I'm sure, because I had different amounts of money that they left. Had a tin can full of money, coffee can. That's my safe. Keep my money in. I got the better part of 14 pounds today. Somebody took.
Oh, only thoughts I got about them, if you can get to them and put them in a box, that'd be the best thing to do for them. I've never seen one actually survive winter around here. Never have.
What to do or not do on an open air colony. Yeah, you have to try it wherever you're at. You ought to try to get them in a box. That's the only chance they got. If they're out on their own, I'd say. I don't know where else. Where you folks at? Icy Mountain, and aren't you in the northeast or east at least? Am I totally wrong? You know, there, Shane, I put out some just to check, see if I put out some artificial pollens. I do that. I call them robin stations. My bees, I've got a sugar water 2-to-1 robin station out in between some of my yards also, and they're coming to the sugar water, but they're not touching the pollen at all. So they must still have some pollen coming in that I'm not aware of. Oops.
Was you reading that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that work. Tiny Creek. I had thought about that, but I didn't know, where you'd want to put it on Facebook or not. But you get plenty of.
Yeah, you probably could.
Yeah.
I have got people wanting me to bring some of my hives to the place they'd have like a half-acre garden or whatever, want me to
Yeah.
pollinate their garden. And but you can have all the honey. I said, of course I can. It's my hive, you know.
Yeah.
But I
I've
know a
got
lot of
all
people
my stuff on.
they like to move at least 10, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
I've got 4 on one guy's property just for his garden. I figured I might move 2 more sooner or later, but I just put 4 just in case it didn't work out. I'd have less work to do.
I've got all my colonies on my own property. I don't like to run all over the country to, work hives. So I got them all within no, about a half a mile of one another.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I've done that before. That way, if you got little room, stack them up, double screen them.
Oh yeah, I guess they're referring to that. Them folks asking about that open air. If you could get them in a
Yeah.
box, you could double screen them. See if you can find a queen. You know for sure you got a queen. You for sure double
Yeah.
screen it. I might make it. I even made up some box. I made me a where I could put a. I made me a double screen setup to convert set up like a 5-frame nuke on top of the 8 or 10 frame. I put my reducer box and shimmed it up where I could put a 5-frame on an 8 or a 10. If I had
Yeah.
one, for heat in the winter.
Hmm.
Sound like they're getting advice there from Westcliff. They'd be better than I would be on. I'd say it'd work.
I got 20, nearly 30. Sometimes on one of my spots, but most of the rest of them, I try to keep them. I got 8 on one, and I usually keep 4 to 6 on the others. And those small areas, all they're really for is to. It's basically in case I need to move a hive from my yard, my main yard, somewhere. I can just take it to one of them small yards for a little while or whatever. It's not necessarily to be pollinating anything. It's just to get them away from my yard for whatever reason. Like if I catch a swarm close to my big yard, I can move it somewhere else. I think commercial guys like about 30, don't they, JW?
Yeah, I'd say most of them matter more. Most I've got, and I'm certainly not commercial. Most I've gotten in any one spot's 28.
All right, y'all. That the link to coming in is pinned. I know some of you jumping to get in here.
Yes. And you just have to feed the heck out of them. I see mountain. I'd say if that's we're still on that open air colony. I'd probably try to take some. I guess they'd know that. Take some rubber bands and get them in at least a frame or a foundationless frame. Rubber band them in there and stick them on something. And if you can find the queen, especially.
Where did Melanie go? I had a question for her. I was just about to click on it and it jumped.
Miss Melanie Cruz.
Yeah.
Uh,
Miss Melanie, you gonna be getting any bad weather out of this one coming to y'all that way?
that should be way south of them. They're right on the Florida Georgia line. That's coming in down the
Yeah,
middle.
I kind of figured they'd miss it.
Yeah, I do know that.
I saw something, one of the channels I'd been following, and I forgot the name of it, but it's alive,
Well,
and they
that
did
Ryan
some
Hall
kind,
or whatever it is, that Ryan
yeah,
Hall.
but
Has a,
they said something about it turning north. I said, "Oh no!" And I got to looking on there, and all it did was just bump north of a couple little degrees. I
yeah.
was just thinking, man, that thing done headed due north or something.
I think they're
Scared me.
talking about Tampa Bay area, and that around Tampa Bay. I did, Darren. Thanks. And I got 2 or 3 different. I'm gonna try some. I've never made it in my life, so my sons, he's wanting me to. When I talk about my sons, it's not like they're babies. My baby son's 52. So
Well, my baby's 40, so
yeah.
I used to tell everybody he was my baby when he was in his 30s. He's 6'2", 6'3", something like that, about 240 pounds. He's the baby
That's
of the
right.
family.
My baby's the same thing. He's a hoss. He's about, and well, I've got 2 boys that work for the prison system. Not that you have to be big to work for the prison system, but
Yeah,
the son I'm talking about, the one who wants me to make the meat, he's 35 regularly on 2 acres. Well,
yeah,
that would depend a lot, Nancy, on what you got around you, I suppose. You
yeah.
know,
I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna repeat it again just for those that come in after the fact. I got so far behind on plugging everybody to come in and said howdy. I just got behind, so I just verbally said it out loud. Hey to everybody that's coming in. Don't want you to think I'm ignoring you. I know how that feels.
we're just filling again for the regulars tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Bob. He didn't text me, and I text him and didn't get an answer, and it was only about an hour after he had posted something in the Facebook. I
He
text
might
Brad,
be,
didn't get an answer.
he might be taking one of them famous little early evening power naps he takes and forgot to
Yeah,
wake up, maybe. Destin, Florida. Good for the bees, more work for the beekeeper.
Ooh,
Wow.
a lot.
Chef Chester. Feed making easier gets better the longer it ages.
Yeah, this I got a video that's going to be coming out this weekend. Checking a little 10 frame box. Actually, it was a nuke that got put in a 10 frame box during the dearth. They outgrew the nuke they were in, but they didn't grow anymore once I moved them. They didn't really grow. But I've had 2 single boxes in a row that I've looked at, and they had a bunch of hive beetles in them. But where they had plastic frames on the end, they had them all pushed on them plastic frames.
Hmm.
It was just, not drawn out anything, just plastic. And they were running all over them plastic frames. They wouldn't let them come back in the brood area. And y'all know what I did to them. I did the high beetle stomp.
Mm.
Uh, but two different single boxes. I did that too. They were pushing them away from the brood though.
Dean, my fishing hadn't been too good the last couple of days, but I haven't give up. I'll probably hit them again in the morning for a while. I got to work some bees again tomorrow, but early in the morning, it's cool enough in the morning. They're a little bit clustered up. It's usually about 11 o'clock before I see much action down my bees right now. We got some 40-degree mornings around here. I'd like to get in on some of that walleye fishing in that lake area. I've got a nephew that comes up there quite regularly. I don't care for walleye to eat, but I like to catch them. People think I'm crazy, but I'm not just a big fan of walleye as a eatery. Dry hide, there's 8,000 unreally just getting started. Wow.
I bet you lose your breath. You get to moving around too much in that, especially in a bee suit.
Yeah, I must have had them totally wrong. I thought they was out east someplace out in the mountains in the east, but they're out west.
Yeah. Huh.
Mm.
Now there's DC.
Boom.
He showed
Boom
up.
yourself, DC. Back at you. Boom. Okay.
I know me and my wife went on a vacation in Colorado. That was a trip we took our Gold Wing on. Rode it all the way from Louisiana to Colorado. And we'd pull up to those little pullovers up in those mountains. And sometimes you would have to park and then walk. It wasn't far, maybe 50 yards to the overlook. And we'd just jump off that bike and walk over that overlook. When we get to that overlook, we're going, trying to get air.
Huffing no puffing, yeah.
You have to learn how to pace yourself when you just come from Louisiana to there, you know. But that was a good trip. We actually went through. I think it seemed like they were like two passes that were still closed when we went through there, but we made all the rest of the passes. It was like a 2 week trip. We had just a little under 6,000 miles on that Gold Wing when I got back.
Wow. That's a long ride. That's a long time to be on one of them, what I call them, crotch rockets.
Yeah. I still got the old '05 Gold Wing 1800. Run like a rocket.
Yeah. Oh, we're back on fishing again.
That's all right. Yeah, it takes a little while to get used to that.
we used to come out there in Wyoming primarily, Montana, up around Red Lake, which is north of Yellowstone National Park. We'd backpack and hike up in the mountains, and we left a trailhead. There's three of us, and one of the guys that had a little trouble with altitude sickness. I'll tell this story, I guess, and we left of an evening, and we spent the night, and the next morning we made about first afternoon we might have made 3 or 4 or 5 mile. I'm not sure. But anyway, next morning we sitting there eating breakfast, and here come the guy up running up the path up through the mountains. He was gone and went right by us and come on back, and we thought we'd done really good. We made about 3 or 4 miles up there in about half a day. This guy come back and he says, "You those guys down there from?" I lived in Florida then. I had my pickup and had Florida plates on it. He says, "You those guys from Florida?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "How you know?" And he said, "Well, I just came from there." He run them marathon races, and he had run in about an hour, and the time it took us about 6 or 7 hours to hump it up there to where we camped that night. He went on up the road and come back about an hour later, and that was his morning workout. We thought we'd really done something.
I remember when them 05 and 75s come out. I wanted one so bad. I had me a little 404, and I thought I had a big motorcycle till I got upside one of them things. Of course, I was a youngin'.
Only thing I was ever comfortable that you set a straddle of was a horse. I've set a straddle a lot of horses, but very few motorcycles. Never had that urge in my life.
Hey, Jeff. Now, Darren, you need to come on in here. I know you got something to talk about.
Oh, you've got them all fired up on these motorcycles now. We got a lot of.
I had to change the title.
You're overriding my bee folks. Bees is secondary conversation now.
Bees are the core. They're the ones that pull us all together to talk about
Yeah.
anything and everything. That's what I say.
Hey, Steve in New York. I don't think I've seen you before.
Where's he at? I don't even
Welcome
see him.
on. About the third one up here in my chat stream here on the bottom. Two above DC's.
You said Steve?
Yeah, this is Daisy's Honey /Steve/New York.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was reading Daisy's Honey. Okay.
Three wheelers, okay.
Uh,
He got
Well,
DC on the motorcycles now. He gonna get him.
I'll have to get some pictures put together. My bike is still a two-wheel bike, and I kind of wanted to trike it one time, and I found something better than that because I didn't want to go strictly two wheels. I call it my training wheels.
Mm-hmm.
You could actually put it on in about 15 minutes when you're used to doing it, and it turns it in. Actually, it's a four-wheeler, but everybody calls it a trike. But that way, reason I got that, I got rheumatoid, and I could get on that motorcycle with two wheels and ride 10 miles or 100 miles. And as long as I didn't have to put my feet down, I'm fine. But if I had to stop at a red light or stop sign, and if I didn't really concentrate on how I picked my legs back up, my hips would lock up. And here I am shifting out, going down the road, trying to straighten my leg out to get that cramp out of my hip. So I went to my training wheels, and that helped a lot with that. But then the grandkids come along, and then I went and bought a sidecar. So now I can sidecar it, trike it, or two wheel it, all on the same motorcycle.
Well,
And I
you
got
got
a
the whole bunch. They're all Harley riders or motorcycle riders of some kind. Looks like that's all we got responding now. Hey, Richard, you're coming in on my side. I'm a horse
Yeah,
man.
I grew up on them. My daddy never would ride a motorcycle, and everybody asked him why. He said, "Too many horses and not enough wheels."
Yep, I would agree 100% with Daddy.
I think I'm gonna skip somebody again. I used to the dairyman I worked for used to have a dirt bike, and I'd get so mad at them cows. All you had to do was crank that thing up, and they'd come up to the barn. I always wanted to ride it unless it was wintertime.
That's what
There
he used.
he is.
That's what he used to call his cows then.
Yeah, all you had to do, they knew you was coming after them. All you had to do was crank it up, and most of them would be at the barn already anyway. So, but they'd come a moving then. What's up, man?
How you guys doing? Joe, this is my first I think my first appearance on one of your lives.
What took you so long?
I don't know. I need to build up to it.
Hey.
This is the fishing and motorcycle chat.
I know.
We do
you know
everything.
You know why I came on? Because you started talking about horses, and I always wanted a horse.
Well,
Oh, you don't have horses?
I grew up on dirt bikes. Literally, like I started riding when I was like 8, or maybe even 7, and that's how we got around when we were kids. Like we had bicycles and all that, but we'd rather take the dirt bikes out. But we had friends who had horses, and I always wanted a horse. If I had a horse, I probably would have never had a dirt bike. I can see why. It was at JW. You said you'd never had any desire to be on a dirt or any motorcycle because you had a horse, and I probably would have been the same way. I'd love to have a horse now.
I can fix you up still to this day.
Except for taking care of it. Except for that part of it.
I had horses when I was growing up. I had horses all till I left home.
Yeah.
And some after. I had 2 before I had to start traveling. I sold them because I had to travel to find work. But when I was growing up, I always said I was going to have a horse ranch. That never happened. I didn't have enough money to have a horse ranch.
Expensive. Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved that, and I love riding motorcycles. And sometime after me and my wife got married, she wouldn't ride, so I finally got rid of the motorcycle, took a break with it and everything. And then my oldest boy wanted to buy one, and he didn't have a license. He said, "Daddy, you want to go look at it with me? Make sure I'm getting something worthwhile?" I said, "Yeah, we go." He didn't know how to ride one. I had to test drive it for him. He messed up because they had 2 there, and they were both the same age, had the same miles on them. And he test drove them. When I got back, my wife looked at me. She said, "You gonna buy whichever one he don't, ain't you?" And I said, "Yep."
Yeah.
I got right back in it.
Yeah.
But what I had before I bought the Gold Wing was a 2005 ST 1300 Honda. I'm gonna tell y'all something. When you tell that thing giddy up, it's gonna go. I don't know how fast it would go. My son said before he slowed down, it was 165. And that's a sport touring bike.
Yeah, I believe that. Probably quiet as all hell too, the whole time.
It's quiet, and it'd get nearly 50 miles a gallon.
Yep.
I'm getting behind here.
I like the Gold Wings. I always like those kind of touring bikes, but then I always wanted a Harley too. I always wanted whatever I didn't have. I always wanted it.
You get them both.
Yeah.
There's a place for both of them.
But
We used to pick at each other all the time. My Harley friends would tell me I had to carry corn to to feed that old motorcycle. But
well,
anyway,
it was about
we'd always say the Honda guys would ride in the back and pick up all the parts off the Harleys. No, it
yeah.
wasn't corn. It was rice. I'm sorry, rice burners.
Right, yeah, right, yeah. Harley riders they took a beating back then. I mean, back in the
Yeah,
'80s and '90s.
but they all good bikes.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever rode one I didn't like to ride.
it was about going back to horses. It was about 10 years ago. Me and Rebecca, my other half, my better half, Rebecca, she was talking about how she always wanted a horse, and I said, I did too. I've always wanted the horse. So my sister has horses too. She has like 4 or 5 horses. So we started looking into the horses. We were getting pretty serious about it, ready to go look at horses. My dad had some property, so we thought we could buy a couple horses and put them up on his property. So anyhow, one weekend we decided we were going to go up to the Finger Lakes for the weekend and just spend a couple of days up there. And I looked at Rebecca and I said, "Did you feed the horses yet?" And she goes, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Well, this is what you would have to do if you were going to get horses. Like before you go, you're going to have to feed the horses, take care of the horses, and get somebody to come in and take care of them while you're gone." So that changed her mind on the horses real quick. So I didn't have to worry about the horses anymore. But that's my story on the horses, and it never made it any further than a thought, JW.
I hear you. Yeah, we rode horses to town on Saturday night. That was
Yeah.
that was the tight shoe night. Everybody, all the neighborhood. I didn't have any real close neighbors. They was all good ways away, but we'd meet up on the way to town, come from all different directions and meet someplace, and 5 or 6 of us would ride the horses into town on Saturday night.
Yeah. That's a good way to spend a Saturday night. I think it is.
Things have changed. It's been a while
since we talking about horses. The last horse I owned, I had bought him from a friend of mine, a boy I grew up, went to school with. And I was actually looking for a horse that was gaited. And he said he's got one. He's got a little gait to him, but you're going to have to train him. He's green broke. I went and looked at him as a pretty little strawberry horse with black legs. And about 2 years old, a little over 2 years old. And he said he's green broke, never really been rode, but you can get up on him and he won't buck or anything. So I brought him home, and like I say, he wasn't trained. I had to just slowly over a couple of weeks get on him and start riding him. You'd have to pull him around, make him go. And I worked with him for a few months and had him neck reining real good. And I had him where you could get on him bareback and grab his mane and just pull him wherever you wanted to go. Take off down the road. That was a good horse. You could take him in the woods, hunting. If you wanted to hunt off of him, take him in the woods, and he'd go in the mud that deep and never bother him. And when I had to start traveling, I put him up for sale, and the boy come by to look at him, and he was I could tell he kind of liked the horse, and the horse was sitting here in the field right here at the house. He didn't have nothing but his halter on. I jumped up on that horse and told him to take off, and we got on. I just went loping down the road with him, running. My driveway's a quarter mile long. Run him down to the end of it, turn around and come back and stopped him and everything. And he had his money in his hand, ready to count it out when I got back. That was the happy part. The sad part was about 3 months later, I got a call from him. "I need some help on this horse." I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "They can't nobody ride him." And I said, "What do you mean can't ride him?" He said, "Every time we get on him and try to go somewhere, he turns around, starts bucking and everything, and we just can't ride him." And I had to go back to that man's house, brought my saddle and everything, bridle. And I actually had to break that horse. The horse had never been broke because I just trained him, you know, never bucked. He's never bucked in his life, never reared up with me. And I bet you that horse bucked, not all at the same time, but until I got him straight about 40 something times. I'd take off with him and he'd get airborne. And he was bucking hard too. He'd hit that air and come down four-legged. But I broke him right there in front of that man, and I was crying and mad at the same time. And I got that horse settled down. I put that boy on him. I said, "You ride this horse around this field 3 times before I leave." I said, "I wish I'd have never sold him to you."
Yeah.
But anyway, he rode him and everything. I said, "You get on him every day for the next 2 weeks. Don't let him get this way again." I said, "All he had was a bluff on y'all." And I was mad. I was so mad at myself for selling that man that horse.
Yeah.
But I only had one thing he wasn't completely trained on. I could take him and walk him through a creek and walk under a bridge, around a bridge, but he didn't like going over a bridge.
Yeah.
And when you'd start getting on that bridge, he'd want to start backing up. So I would spin him around and make him walk backwards all the way across that bridge till I got across it. And that was my next goal, was to get him broke on that bridge. But he was a good
So
horse.
when
He was a
that
good horse.
when you showed up and that horse, when you met that horse again, do you think it recognized you?
Yeah, he knew me.
Yeah.
He knew me.
Oh,
But
yeah, animals will.
But
I tell
he
you.
was thinking if he could get away with it with them, he could get away with it with me, That didn't happen. He didn't know my daddy taught me how to ride and how to change a horse's mind.
Mm.
I always wondered though, because like a horse is like a horse, like a dog. Like you don't want to give up a dog, right? You know what I mean? Because you're gonna miss
Yeah.
that dog forever, and the dog's gonna always. You think the dog's always gonna miss you as a horse the same way, like that. I see my sister selling horses left and right, and it's just almost things like those
Yeah.
horses just get passed around their entire life. That's all. They just get
But some
sold.
of it's just a business. A lot of times they'll find a home,
Yeah.
But my first horse, I must have been 12 years old when my daddy bought me that horse. And I rode him all over the place and didn't know a lot about the horse. Nobody gave us any history on him. To me, he was a good kid's horse. I'm 12 years old and I'm riding him everywhere. I grew up riding on him. I say grew up. I rode Shetlands before that, but anyway, I learned something about that horse. My cousin had a Shetland that was hard to catch. And he tried to catch that thing one day, and I was up there on my horse. I said, "Let me just get on my horse and see if I can ride up to her and put a rope over her head." And when I got close, she run. And when she ran, my horse took off after her. And he just went to cutting, and he pinned her up in the corner of that field. I'm hanging on now because I didn't know what was happening. And that horse was cutting, and I learned then that I had somebody's cutting horse. So evidently I don't know if he was a rodeo horse, but he was a work horse. Somebody used to work with him because he just had that nature about him. He knew the difference between you leaning over and getting off. Because if he was just leaning over, he'd keep walking. But if you was going to get off, he'd stop.
Yeah.
He just knew what you were doing. I'm getting lost in the chats again.
Brian's back. We're on horses and motorcycles tonight, Brian.
Yeah, I'm gonna change the title.
Koopman's got to be a 50cc moped.
Man.
That's what I started on. I started on a 50cc mini bike. Yeah, I don't think top speed was even 37 on that. Definitely not. Maybe more like 20.
There you go, Keith. That's more my style, that halfback tractor. You have to work on them. And they're not too much fun. I don't like to work on stuff.
I remember a cousin of mine had a moped. He'd come by the house. I was a little younger now. I wasn't even old enough to have a mini bike at that time, but he'd come by pedaling that thing about 2 miles to the store. In about 10 minutes, you'd see him riding back. He'd have gas in it.
Hey, JW, did you get your mead recipe, or did you get straightened out on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna try some.
Or you?
It'll be this winter before I mess with it. I had I was telling Joey probably maybe before you come in. I think my little farmers market. I've got a little old honor system at the farm where they just come and put in the money and take the honey. I sold about 14 pounds today. Just never. I don't even have any idea who took it.
Yeah.
Money was in my money was. I've got a tin can for a safe there. They
That's
put
kind of
money in, and I keep about $50 or $60 in there if they need to make change or something.
what I do. I don't keep that much. I keep $10 in it.
Yeah.
But I had an Amish guy walk because I got cameras on mine. You know those blink cameras you get on Amazon. They're
Yeah.
not real good, but they miss actually a lot of. I have a lot of customers come up. Those cameras don't even pick up. But today I caught this guy. He was an Amish guy. And he come up and he's looking at my honey, and he stood there for about a minute, and he's just looking and picking up all my honey and looking at the honey, and then he sat it down. Then he started going through my cash box, and he's like looking at the money, and and I'm at work, right? Like I'm like watching this whole thing happen while I'm at work, and he just like shut the cash box and he walked away, but he never did buy anything. But it's interesting, like having those little. I had that stand set up right out in front of my house, and I've made a lot of nice money off of that. Just no effort at all. Just I've never really had any problems. Nobody ever stole off of me.
Yeah. Yeah, so between 300 and 400 pounds this year. This first year I've ever even sold honey. I always gave it away in the past.
Yeah, you said that.
I figured if I was going to ever make something around here, an honor, a kiosk or whatever, I would probably have it where when you put that money through a little slot, it's going to go into a steel box somewhere, and they can't nobody get through it.
Well, I did that. I did that, Joey, and I still have the box hanging up right there alongside the porch. But I think what was happening was people couldn't get change, right? So like I was making a few sales, but they couldn't get change. So then I thought I'm going to try this cash box and just see how that goes. And I was a little bit concerned because up the road about 4 miles, there's like, I guess it's called a halfway house. It's like a rehabilitation place, and they release all these people. Most of them are like people who are like into drugs and stuff like that, and they always end up coming into our town, and they just kind of like wander around. They don't have anywhere to go. They don't have any money. So I was concerned, but I put that little cash box out and I keep $10 to $15 change in it. And I've never had anybody messing with it so far. So I think that actually increased my sales, just giving people so at least they have the opportunity to give themselves change. And I think of all the sales I made, probably this summer, I had like maybe 2 people, maybe 3 people who actually didn't buy anything. They just kind of looked around, and then mostly like older people. I think they weren't interested in the hot honeys and stuff like that I'm selling. So they just left. But I mean, I sold like 99% of the visitors, they actually buy something, which that's kind of nice. I mean, there's not a lot of effort in it. I just wake up in the morning, I put my honey out there, and I go to work, and I come home, and there's my money.
And I leave it time.
I've been saying, I'm sorry, JW.
Go ahead. I'm fine. I'm just.
I've been saying if I ever did one, I would probably put it at my mom's house. And because, like I say, I live a quarter mile away from the highway. So nobody drives up in here unless they're lost. Mm-hmm. And they get scared once they get up in here because I'm at the end of the road. And they try to find a way to get out real quick. But mom's right on the highway, a few miles away, and I think it would work better at her house. But if I'd ask her about it, she'd probably say, "Just put your sign up there, and I'll sell the honey." That's what she
Yeah.
would do because she'd want all the company to stop by,
Yeah.
you know. So that would work for me too. I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Well, I'll
I
tell
get
you
that.
what, Joey, I'm a mile and a half on a dead end, and they come to me. You know, what I did was I bought a feather flag off of Amazon that says local honey, and I put it down at the highway, which is a end of a mile and a half, and I had a local sign maker make me a sign, honey, local honey, 1.5 mile, and draw it an arrow and put a sign at the end, and they come up there and they leave the money in my strong box is a 3-pound coffee can, and I leave change and business cards in there, and so far I've come out ahead. You know, a lot of people don't take their change if it's an odd amount, if it's $15 or $18 and worth of honey, and they got a 20, they won't take the $2 change. A lot of them. So,
How many visitors do you think you get a day, JW?
you mean how many people on the
Yeah.
average? Probably the average, probably 4 or 5 at the most. You know?
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
No.
Uh,
See, I'll go. I might go like in stretches. Like I'll go. I might go like 2-3 days. In fact, like a couple weeks ago, I had a whole
well,
week.
that'll happen. Yeah.
I didn't get a visitor all week long, and then I said to Rebecca, "I don't know what's going on. Like, did somebody find a a spider in my honey or something?" And they're spreading the word on Facebook, right? So I couldn't figure out why nobody was buying my honey. Then all of a sudden they came back, and they started buying it, and it's been going strong. But I go through those periods where they quit buying it, then they come back, and then they quit buying it. But I'll go like 2 or 3 days. I may not sell anything, and then all of a sudden I'll in like 2 or 3 days.
I do that too. I just talk about average. They don't 4 or 5 come every day. There may be, on a nice Sunday afternoon, I may, 10 or 12 people. I've got a camera that's out there. I check the card every now and then just out of curiosity because I don't suppose out of the honey that I've sold this year, I've seen 10 of my customers because it's just all sitting out there on the table all by itself. And
Right.
people come, leave the money and take the honey and go on.
That's the easy way. You don't have to deal with them. Once in a while, somebody will knock at the door and they'll want change or they'll just have a question. But usually they just come up and they just help themselves. They just get their change, and I make sure I have enough, $10 or $15 in ones in there, and I don't have to bother with it.
Hey, Mark Miller. Hey, Greg Burns. Hey, Russell. Again.
Muted, didn't know it. But
Jeff Butler.
I might try to do that at my mom's. But the thing is, there's a hardware store 2 miles from me that sells my honey, and he moves it fast. I mean, he moves it fast, 24 bottles at a time, and that's better than the rest of them that I do. And my mom is another 2 miles from him, so I don't know if it would really help to have one there now or not.
Yeah, it might not.
He's selling your honey?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd say give it a shot. You never know. I mean, there's people who probably drive through who don't stop at the hardware store. I'm sure.
Well, that's true. They probably a lot of them that don't. And that would be another little corner to get.
Right. I'm thinking of like just up the road, maybe about 2 or 3 miles. There's a restaurant up there, and they have a bunch of Amish people up there who they sell all their produce and stuff. I might put something up there. What's that?
And if I had Rodney closer to me, I could keep him busy. I get a call every week, somebody wanting bees took out of a tree or something.
Yeah, me too.
What would you think would be a fair price to put a table on somebody's property? Like what would they charge you? Is that worth like $5 a week or $10? Like how? I'm trying to think of like a price for that.
Oh, you talk about paying the property owner?
Yeah, or somebody who already has like a stand, like a vegetable, like a fruit market type stand.
Oh yeah, okay.
And if I just put my honey there, say, hey, give me like this much of your stand, like all I need is like a 2 feet, like 2 feet or something.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I
what would be
don't
a
know.
fair price?
I figure they might just want to add their price to it, you know, let them get it that way.
Maybe,
You never know.
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, something
I'm
to
in
think
a
about.
different lot. I wouldn't even think of, if it were my property, I wouldn't even think of charging somebody if they want to set something up. You know, it's kind of a difference in the area that you grow up in, Darren. That people, everybody around here trusts one another.
Right.
I don't. I wouldn't have any qualms about, you know, if I had a piece of property someplace, somebody wanted to put a stand there to sell their honey on, have at her. Good luck. You know, pass it forward. It's my thinking on stuff. I
Let's
treat
see.
people like I want to be
What,
treated. That's just the way I operate. 25%
25.
for retailers. That sounds pretty generous, really, if you're going to go
Yeah.
it from a commercial standpoint.
I was kind of
Well,
thinking that.
a little vegetable stander isn't really like a retailer, right? So
Yeah. I've
no,
got
no,
friends that's put
Philip,
a
I'm not manning the stand at all. Like it's just like a cash box type thing. You just come in and just the people, you know, if they want a zucchini or tomatoes or whatever, they take that and
yeah.
put it in the cash box. And then I thought if I could have my honey there, maybe put a separate cash box off to the side somewhere, you know, well, you know, what's that worth to the landowner?
It's different than people, Philip. I wouldn't sit in a stand all day if they'd guaranteed me $1,000 a day
I wouldn't.
sales.
That'd be hard for me to do.
That's not my thing.
I got where when I go to church, I sit in the lobby. I had to get up too much with this coughing I got all the time.
Yeah.
I get a whiff of that perfume or somebody's strong cologne, I got to get out. I start coughing.
Probably got you in there with the crying babies.
Yeah, I put up with crying babies, especially when I was used to run the sound. I just put my earmuffs on, act like I'm listening.
You buy some
Work too.
tomatoes, you buy honey. Well, you got one can for tomatoes, Philip. You got one money can for tomatoes. You got one money can for honey. No problem.
Yeah, my honey is off to the side. It's got its own little
You got,
section.
you got
You know,
two
little
coffee cans instead of one. If you just sell honey, you just got one coffee can for a lock, and if you got two, if you sell honey and tomatoes, well, you got to have two cans for people put their money in. One for tomatoes and one for honey. No problem. Of course, I don't have any of that prize winning honey, so I don't have that.
I know. I got to get that some of that
We
off of
don't
him.
have none of that prize. We can't advertise that our honey got first prize at the local Buttons and Hannah. Maybe rigged. Maybe
award-winning Texas honey.
Yeah,
I could sell that all over. I could sell that all over Pennsylvania.
Get on here, Philip, and we'll let you. You're gonna have to come on here and protect yourself from me and old Darren. We're gonna tear you up, Mister.
JW will.
Sound like a challenge, Philip.
Come on, King honey.
I'm like you, Rodney. I'm too busy fishing to want to have time to do honey markets.
My wife was actually going to do that when we first got back home to this part after we moved away from the prison. And
Sure.
she hadn't been there yet. Y'all can tell her I said that too. I'm going to get me a table. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to sell some of this honey. I don't know what happened with that idea.
What can I say, Philip? You have a good day, sir.
I think Philip did pretty good last year too. He didn't. You came in all right last year, didn't you, Philip? I don't think you weren't first place, but you came in with a good score. Starting to think there's something about Texas. Maybe I need to move to either Texas or I don't know, Canada.
Let's see. DC was a co-winner, I guess, on that deal. He's from Washington State, I think, or Oregon won, and Russell Koopman's Minnesota. So they ain't all Texicans.
No, they did pretty good too. My score last year was, I was dead last year, so I was happy to have a decent score this year.
51 watching. According to what I'm seeing there's 51 people watching.
Wow.
Pretty good.
They must be a boring night at the homestead. No Monday night football or anything on. People coming on and listening to this.
They've got a little farmer's market close by us, the one my wife was talking about going to do. And I thought about just going to find somebody that's there regular and see if they wanted to sell my honey for me and just give them a cut of it or just add a couple of dollars to it, tell them sell it for this amount and I'll take this. But I just never have done it because I've kind of watched it and it's never really the same people there all the time. You might have one guy there one weekend and next weekend it's another guy selling vegetables.
You can always tell a guy feeling a little bit guilty because he comes up with all these responses. Went from first loser last year to first place this year. That's shucks. Good food at the market.
I got something I want to try. I just want to test this giveaway thing and see if I can make it work. I've been trying to practice with it. They said you can go in like a private or unlisted and test it and see how it works, but I never could get it to work right. I'm thinking about trying it here right now and see if it'd work. What y'all think?
What are you gonna do? Say, what?
That you know how they have the giveaways sometimes, and they have the little wheel spinning,
Right.
the little thing popping up names. I've been trying to see if I could make that thing work, and it just won't work for me.
What are you gonna give away?
Try it on. I don't know.
You mean like street or what's her name? Wednesday night. Who's that? Stream Team. How they do it? Those giveaways?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Try it.
I don't know how those work. You have to talk
just
on them.
Just allow, like, between me and JW. We'll see if it works, won't we, JW?
Yeah, I never won anything in my life, I guess. So I'll be a first.
Yeah.
I can't
Let's
even
see if
win
I can
honey
get
contest
while y'all talking.
with the
While
paid.
y'all talking, I'm gonna try to get it set up.
Get
See
it
what
set
I
up.
can do.
See if you can get it set up. You gotta have something to give away though, Joey.
Oh, he's got a lot of stuff to give away.
Oh, we can't do a freebie? How about a bottle of honey?
How about a horse? How about a gold wing? Uncapping tank.
Right.
That's a good idea. I like the uncapping tank idea.
I've got a horse story to tell you since we're in a little bit of a lull here on the. I've raised horses for years, and I have a guy that comes about 100 miles that does my farrowing work, shoes or trims horses for me. And I've got a white donkey that I raised from a baby, and he's probably 12 or 13 years old now, and I get a lot of comments from him. I'll put a picture of him I'll put a picture on my background of him one of these days. And my donkey's name is Donk, and my farrier told somebody that I had this white donkey, and the people were from Missouri, which was, the guy gets a telephone call for this guy.
KW keeps locking up, don't he?
Said, "Are you Mr. Irwin?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Do you have a white donkey?" And I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "Would you mind if I come look at it?" Said, oh, he never mentioned buying or anything like that, because the donkey is not for sale, to tell it the way it is. I forgot about it. About a month later, this guy pulls my driveway. Said, "You the guy with the white donkey?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You mind if I look at him?" I said, "No, you're very welcome to look at the donkey." He said, "Where is he?" And I said, "He's down in the pasture." He said, "Can I catch him?" I said, "Well, maybe." And I hollered 2 or 3 times. I just give it my old cattle call yell and hollered, "Donk." And here he come. Running up the runway. And he comes up there, and the donkey puts his head on my shoulder, and he said, "You sell that donkey?" And I said, "No, it'd have to be a big high price." He said, "Well, what do you want for him?" I said, 25,000. He looked at me and his eyes got big. He said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Serious as a heart attack." I said, "That donkey there, if you got him, cost you 25,000. He said, what makes him so high?" I said, "He's my buddy." That was in the conversation. He said, "Well, I think he's a little bit off my price range." He got back in his truck and drove back to Missouri.
Yep. I don't blame you. I totally get you on that.
Yeah. He said, "Why's he high?" I said, "He's my buddy."
That's what I feel about my dog. I have a Brittany that I've hunted with for the past 9 years, and he's my buddy. And I don't, it would take a lot of money to get that dog off of me. A lot of money. I don't know if any amount of money could do it, to be honest with you.
Now, they get to be like another child.
Yep.
At least, hey, Matt, Sandy Valley, how you doing?
Are y'all ready to try this?
Go for it.
Well, I tell you what, this is what I'm gonna say. If it don't work, it don't work. But
then we try it again.
Huh?
Then we can try it again.
Got to get back to my comments, but I'm gonna try to give away one of those little pin lights, like I was gonna donate to Gunline.
Yeah.
They do their giveaway.
Yeah.
If it works, somebody's gonna win a flashlight. If it don't work, it just don't work.
You don't get nothing.
So nobody gets a flashlight. Let's see. That's how you got to write it.
Hashtag flashlight. I'm going for that one myself.
This is
Let me
one of
get my
those little
glasses.
stream lights.
Let me get my glasses on.
You got to do the hashtag.
Don't run it quite yet. I'm not tuned in yet, Joseph. Hey, Miss Kimberly, how are you this evening?
I've been wanting to try this thing. Like, I kind of followed the directions, and it said you could do
You're
it.
fixing to find out, is all I can tell you.
Yeah, it said you could do it unlisted and try it with like 2 people in there, but I just couldn't get it to work right. But there's several steps to that. You got to do what we're doing here, and I've already got it set up, and then I got to have it to find all of them. Then I got to share it with y'all, and then I got to spin that wheel. So that's a lot of things for Joey to do, and I only got 2 brain cells, and they fight each other all the time.
Well, hey, Charlie.
Hey,
We're riding motorcycles and fishing and horse trading and doing a little bit of everything on here tonight.
yeah, I heard something about wanting a horse or whatever. That's it. Talk about expensive.
Yeah.
That's why I sell everything for the horse people.
Yeah, the hay. Yeah.
Hay, straw, sawdust,
Yeah.
fencing boards, pony barns. Hey, Kimberly.
Well, I tell you, I've had a lot of good memories from horse riding. Really have.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember is I got bucked off of one. And that was the end of me and horses.
But where I grew up, a 10 or 12-year-old could get on a full-grown horse or a bicycle and take off down the road, and you might ride an hour and not see but 1 or 2 cars. That's the way it was back in my day.
Mm.
You can't get close to the road now without the wind blowing you away from vehicles flying by.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I'd be going all day on horses, and Mom and Daddy never once worried about me. I told them they didn't love me.
So, yeah, that was our mode of transportation when I was a kid. You know, if you wasn't old enough to have a driver's license, well, you rode the horse to town on Saturday night. That was tight shoe night. Everybody went to town on Saturday night. And I was 12 miles from town. Rode the horse to 12 mile into town. And,
How long did that trip take you, JW?
oh, heck, you make 12 mile in a couple hours, you know, so. Get a good gaited horse, he'd average 6 miles an hour. And them Tennessee Walkers or Missouri Foxtrotters or
Y'all still there?
yeah, you waiting on the paint to dry on your board or what?
I'll give them a little bit to see if anybody else is going to put it in there.
The more you get on there, the less chance I've got. I was kind of
really.
Oh.
I thought it was just going to be between me and JW. This isn't fair at all.
I guess everybody's put in. I hadn't seen nothing else pop up.
Charlie, as you probably win it. Did you get done, Charlie?
What's that?
We'll give them one more minute. Did you put in hashtag flashlight, Charlie?
Yeah, about 10 times.
I thought I saw it.
Okay.
Everybody got hashtag flashlight in. See, Charlie just did it again. It's only gonna pick it up one time.
I know how to do the shortcuts.
All right, let's see what happens. If it fails, we'll
What is this,
do
a
it
pin light
again.
off the ambulance or what?
Huh?
I say, is this a pin
That's
light off the ambulance?
It's a pin light. It's the stream light. That's the kind I use
Mhm.
to look down
Here.
in the cells.
Sees eggs with
You
in the
need to-
cell.
You need to advertise that to us first, Joey. Let us see what we're going after.
Well,
here.
I don't have the pin light
At
handy.
least hold it up for us. We can see it.
I don't have it with me.
You know, you shine into people's eyes with a pearl. Pupils equal reactive.
Where's Gunline? They still in here? They got one. Mine's in the truck somewhere, and I probably couldn't find it if I needed to. Gunline,
The one I
yeah.
got from a bee jacket. I've got one, but it's not a good one.
Gunline, y'all come in here for a minute and show that light if you got it handy.
So it's better than a pin light.
I like it. Now, what I like about it, it don't just click on and off. You can actually just press the button. It's got a momentary on it. You can push hard and click it on and leave it on, or you can just kind of push the button, look in the cell, and stick it back in your pocket.
Hey, Todd.
Todd, have you got hashtag flashlight wrote in?
Yeah, I think he did. I think I've seen it in there someplace.
Okay.
Yep, I see it.
Hey, Todd Prater, if you're watching this, I gave you my telephone number last night. I need you to text me. I need to talk with you, young man, please. Thank you.
I thought you were going to say you gave me the wrong number.
No, I don't think I did.
Don't call that number. She won't like that.
He may not have been watching and found it.
Okay,
I don't care to put it out, Todd, but it's if you're watching, start collecting comments. Okay.
That's just a picture of it. I got to get back over here to get to it. Look like we got 30.
Go ahead.
Can y'all
Joey.
see? Can y'all see
30
that?
entries.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got 30 entries. Yeah.
All right, let's see what happens. Hey,
Honeybee compound. Congratulations.
it worked.
Yeah, congratulations, Jason.
You have to send Joy. You have to put out. You have to send Joy your information so he can send it to you.
That's Jason. He lives close to me.
That was fun.
I didn't see my name even come up there, though, Joey. I think you should do another one.
I'm going to put my email in the comments and you can send me your information.
Yeah. Todd, I'm going to put my phone number in the comments if you're still on here. So I don't care to give it out. I don't have any big secrets. Law's not after me today. Got them out off my back last night.
Now I know how to do it.
Where do you find that tool at?
It's let me go over to it where I won't make sure I won't say it wrong. It is StreamYard.com/giveaway.
So you actually have to go to it.
Well, when you open it up, it's actually inside a StreamYard.
Yeah, but you can't click it from the command center or anything like that.
Yeah, you actually had to go to it.
Mm.
I'm gonna see if I can find a link to it. I don't know how to share a link on here, but I'm gonna try it. Y'all keep talking.
All right.
What are you going to give away, Charlie? You're going to do one Friday night?
No, I didn't know how they all did that kind of stuff. I'm going to take and.
Oh, Leah'd be proud of me, won't he? All right, let's see. How can I do this?
I'm writing JW's phone down so I can call him up and bug him all day.
Well,
Yeah, I think
you might as well every other solicitor in the world
Where's
calls
my
you
phone?
about 5 times a day. I think I got I think 5 or 6 of them solicitation calls a day. Aggravating things.
Beekeeper in Illinois.
I got a link to that in the comments there if anybody wants to look at it.
Oh, $100 gift card from Hives. Heroes. Oh, James Noel. Well, yeah, if you do that, Todd, then I'll text you back with what I want. Then I'll have your number. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I keep getting these emails from Trump. I'm gonna have to block him.
I do too. I
don't need but one a day. I get about 10.
And they always got a video with them too.
I get them from him and from my governor and the one guy that used to be the old governor wants to be the new senator or whatever. All that kind of crazy stuff.
Let's see. I don't know how to make that work.
JW, here's my phone number. 410-937-3069. Charlie Thomas, Sawmill Charlie. Sawmill Charlie.
It hasn't come through yet, but I'll get it, I'm sure. Got my phone right here in my hand. Yep, that was one of them. You are Todd one. Yeah, thanks, Charlie.
Todd's going to check you too, text you too. Yeah.
Got it, Todd. Thanks. I'll be back at you with a text in the morning as to what I need. Thank you.
Okay.
Who was that won that flashlight? It wasn't Darren.
It was Honeybee Compound.
Honeybee Compound.
I
I
think.
don't know. I don't know who to be looking for an email from, but I don't see nothing yet.
No, it's not it. It's the Honeybee, yeah, the Honeybee Compound. I've got Jason as his first name. He lives in Forest Hill, Maryland.
Okay. I reckon I'll be hearing from them.
Hopefully.
If you have to, if I don't respond back to you, go to Facebook. If you do Facebook and look me up and message me too, because I get so many emails. I get 1,000 emails a day, so yeah, I have to know to be looking for it. And we'll get that flashlight to you. I think you'll enjoy it. Charlie, what you been doing? I hadn't got to watch hardly any lives this week. I've been so busy.
Yeah. I've been I'm finished up feeding my bees, and I went out there yesterday and this evening and started pulling top hive feeders off, where they're not taking it anymore, and then dumping the sugar water into the feeders that are still sucking it down. And I think I took off about 5 or 6 of them today, and 3 of them yesterday. So I don't know. I won't be able to do anything out there tomorrow evening, but I got a bee meeting to go to. But I figure by the end of the weekend, um, I think I'll have all my feeders taken off by that time. So, especially the 10 framers. So I've been, they're starting to look like they are behind me there, where they're just, 3 mediums and they're all ratchet strapped down and all that stuff. Yeah, the bees look good. There's, good, strong looking hives right now. And then today I had a little bit of time in the afternoon. In my bottling tank, I put about 110 pounds of honey in it, filled it back up, put some more buckets in my hot box to keep them warm, and so they'll pour good. So when I put I set it up on my bottling tank where I put I got some maple 2x2s, I guess, or 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch sticks, and I put a bucket feeder that you put in a stainless steel round feeder that has where you draw out the things to hook it on a bucket. Anyway, I always strain my honey and stuff like that just in case. And today was a good day because the second bucket I was pouring it in there, and all I seen this go bloop in there, and here it was a dead bee in there that had somehow got in the damn bucket when I was extracting. So it caught all that. So always good to have that little extra protection there. So
Yeah, that's something how some of that stuff gets through. You wonder how that happens. I had a hive beetle that got through once. I mean, that's like
I
the
don't
last
think
thing you
I
want
could
to
think
see.
of is there was bees, where I was extracting, coming out of the boxes, and one of them must have flew in there and, got into the bucket and drowned it. And, there it was. One other time I was doing that, and there was a little chip of wood. And the only thing I could think of was it was maybe a chip off of a wooden frame.
Yeah.
And all. Or maybe it fell off of me. I don't know. It doesn't. So, that's what I've been doing, kind of catching up on the loose
Charlie,
ends.
do you
and
run
then
your
huh?
your bottling tank like in the wintertime, like when it's colder out? Do you run that all winter, or do you just do that like run that whenever you need to bottle some honey? How do you do that?
It runs constant.
Mhm.
I keep it plugged up and I set it. I got the thermostat set. It goes down to about 80, 80, I don't know, 82, 4, 5, about 86, 87, 88 degrees. And it goes up to about 92 or 94 degrees. Fluctuates between the low temp where it kicks on. It might be about 88. It's got two 2-degree increments. So 2, 4, 6. It's either 86 or 88 degrees is where it kicks on, and it goes up to, let's say, no more than about 94. And that's it. It stays right in that range. It's warm, but it's not hot. And I'm pulling here lately, it's been averaging 20 pounds of honey out of it every week. And all, if not more. And so it's always available. It's on I got it sitting on a, what do you call it, a scissor lift like Mike Berry. That's where I kind of got the idea from him and Jason. Both of them have the same principle. Jason from Bohemia Bees has it. There's a couple other people. I went ahead and got the scissors lift from Harbor Freight. And now mine's a 25-gallon bottling tank, Max Ant. You can get two different size scissors lifts. One of them's a 500-pound capacity. One of them's 1,000 pounds. But don't even think about the capacity. Look at the frame structure of those two different, but difference between the two, and you'll definitely want to get the 1,000-pound one. It's not because of the 1,000 pounds. It's the way the width of the table is a little wider for your honey tank to sit on. The construction is just the bars and everything else is just so much more heavier. And now, Joey, I think you got one, and I believe it's what, a 500-pound? 500 pound, your scissors lift.
Yeah, 500 what it is.
Yeah, because I could tell your handles are straight up and straight across, I believe.
See if I can take my
I'm
gonna try to take my virtual background off. I spilled my glass of water. That's what I'm doing, to clean it.
No. We thought you'd left us, made you mad.
I made me a new glass of water, and I set it right on the edge of my table. That's Harbor Freight has two, and that's their smaller one right there.
Yeah, see
Y'all see that?
I looked at that, and the table is not as, mine's a couple inches wider. The wheels are heavier, and my handle comes up, and then it curves kind of back. And but the X bracing, that's really light X bracing on that unit there, where mine's, I'll say it's at least 1/4 inch steel or more. And anyway, and then the hydraulics, you kind of watch that. I always let mine down after I get done bottling and keep the pressure off the cylinder.
I drowned my mouse.
Joey, what's that table you just showed? What would one like that go for? About what would that cost roughly?
Oh, I can do a search right quick. How much?
I think it's over $200.
Yeah, I've had it so long, it don't take me but one night to forget what I paid for something.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me search it right quick while y'all chatting.
And you got a restaurant supply close to you. Sometimes they have them things. I got a stainless steel table on rollers, same height as about what Charlie and Joey's got their lift for. I think I got it for $65. It's stainless steel, that 300 series stainless. It's on rollers. I just leave mine on it. I move it around if I need to. He's asking about that. I leave
$249.
mine just as point of information. Not that I'm right or wrong. I leave mine set on 90. It's got a rheostat on it. I've got a 20-gallon basically bottling tank, and I just
$250.
Yeah.
50.
And the one I got is
Yeah.
1,000 pound. It's 319. It used to be 400 or 320. It used to be, I thought, $400.
If I bought another one, I think I'd go ahead and get the bigger one.
Yeah, it's
This one does fine. When I bought it, can you see that right there? That's a 15-gallon drum. That was my bottling tank at one time, and it was way big enough for that thing.
Yeah.
And it'll hold this, but when you're jacking it up, it kind of has that wiggle to it. Now the other one may do the same thing. I don't know, but
well, the other
still
one you'll
understated.
find with the 1,000 pounds is the cross arms are thicker.
Yeah.
And I think also the table is an inch or two wider. And it's I'm looking at say 1,000. I'm looking at 500 pounds of honey, and if you got mine will hold 25 gallons plus it holds 8 or 9 gallons of water plus the weight of the tank. And 25 times 12, 300 pounds worth of honey in the tank maximum. And then how much is a gallon of water? 7 pounds?
8.
8.3. 8
8
pounds.
hours on taught, I think.
All right, well, right there, water in the tank and honey is 372 pounds. And then you figure the tank, 75 pounds, maybe 100 at the most. So let's say 472 pounds. Let's say you're just under 500 pounds. That's at full maximum capacity of everything. So I always like to over engineer.
Yeah.
Another thing is like, it's let's say it's Chinese. It's got a hydraulic cylinder. They talk about, sometimes I watched some of the comments where the cylinders, either got air in them or they needed oil or something like that.
Todd, that's a good question, because I know people, most people I know keep it warm. And I know several people that keep it in the freezer. They'll bottle it and put it in the freezer, and like the day before a farmer's market, they'll pull out what they think they're going to sell.
What, doesn't that crack the bottle expansion?
No, it won't. Honey don't freeze.
It doesn't.
Honey won't freeze.
It's not frozen. It's more crystallized, or what?
It don't crystallize. Whatever form it is when you put it in that freezer, that's what it stays at. It just gets thick. You have to warm it back up to run, but it won't freeze and burst glass. That the first guy I ever heard of doing it was Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph. It works with Mr. Ed sometimes. He bottles his up and puts it all in the freezer. Pulls it out as he needs it.
See, what my thing of it is I I'm selling, and I only bottle so much ahead of time. I'll keep 10 1-pounders. I'll keep 8 to 10 2-pounders. I'll keep 3-pounders or 3-3-pounders
Yeah,
in the, what would you call it, the storage area. And then
that's
I
me.
keep, yeah, and then I keep in the office where I sell it, at least 3 of each product. And two, I found it used to be I would only keep 1 3-pounder because I wouldn't sell that many. Now it seems like 3-pound is the hot thing to buy. And I'll keep 2 of them in the office where I sell them. And a lot of times I'll wind up selling 3 of them in one day sometimes.
I'm the same way, Charlie. I bottle every morning, replace what I sold the day before. You know, and
Well, like last night, I bottled, I had sold almost 3 3-pounders within a day or two. I sold 1 on a Sunday, or my son did, and then I sold 2 of them yesterday. So I bottled up 3 3-pounders, 7, 8, 9. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 6 ones, and 1 2-pounder. There's 9, there's 10, there's 15, 16, 17, about 17 pounds yesterday. And then I bottled up something, I think it was Friday, I think close to 15 or 20 some pounds. I'm bottling, kind of frequently, depending on what's, how low I'm getting. But
Charlie, I never caught that the bigger lift goes higher. I never realized that. That's good to know too.
Yeah, mine, maybe I looked into all that. Let's see. I did look into that kind of stuff when I bought it. And
I don't know what Yankee is.
Richard, you don't have no honey?
yeah, it lifts your project up 34.5 inches. And look under specifications.
I do the same thing. Of course, I don't sell it. I just cut a few up every year and give it to my regular customers. But I'll keep it in the freezer till I give it to them.
It's 20 inches wide. And then on the 500-pounder, it lifts 27.5 inches. And it's 17 and 5/8 wide. So it's 17, 18, 19. It's about
talking, I'm muted.
It's about 18, 19, 20, about 3 inches wider on the platform.
Yeah.
Vivor has one. It's 1,100 pounds for $431. It goes 35 lifting height. I don't know if that's good or not. Is that a good price?
I don't know. I mean, they all come from China as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. They're probably getting from
Yeah,
the same
one of
place.
There's
Same
that
people building.
$25,000 donkey, Darren.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that before. I wouldn't sell that for no less than $250,000.
JW, you ever heard of Justin Wilson
Oh yeah.
down here in Louisiana?
Mm-hmm.
I won't go into the whole story, but he told a story one time about a man auctioning off a mule. He sold a bunch of tickets for $1 a piece or $100 a piece. It's been so long since I heard it. But he sold a bunch of them tickets. And before the day of the drawing, the mule died. And he went ahead and just kept the money. And somebody asked him about it. He said, he asked him about it. He said, no, he said, I didn't give him to nobody. The mule died. He said, you didn't get in trouble because that mule died? All them people spending that money? They didn't get mad at you? He said, only one. I gave him his money back.
Yeah. Got it, won him.
The guy that won it, he gave him his money back.
Look at there. There's world famous Mike Berry is sneaking in here on us. See that, Joey?
Yep. That's not too far from here. Not too far from me or Mike, actually.
You know, you bring that up. You know, a good mules now bring $3,000 or $4,000 for people buying them for trail riding.
Yep. Tell you what, they sure-footed, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Who was Justin Wilson, and was he a comedian or something?
Yeah, yeah, he was. He had that Cajun accent, or he told his jokes in the Cajun accent. He was kind of like a half breed. But
Oh, the other
he
The
made
one.
a
one I can
living
think
off
of, the only one I know remember is Jerry Clower.
Yeah. He was about
He
the
was
same.
about the same. He was the Cajun version of Jerry Clower,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
and he was about as good a cook as he was a comedian. That dude could cook. He did the last several years of his life.
Was that
He
the
did
guy that had the
cooking shows.
television show?
Yep, Justin Wilson had a cooking show.
Yeah, okay. He had glasses and yeah, okay. I remember him. He had that.
When he measured a teaspoon or something, he never used a spoon. He said, "That's about a teaspoon right there." You know. And how you thought about that, huh?
Did he pass away?
Yeah, he's been gone for years.
My
Okay.
wife used to watch him. He was what did he go by? The Cajun chef or something, wasn't it, Joey?
I think that's what his show was, something like that. Yeah, Liberty's even closer to me than Clower was.
Heck, you couldn't, them doggone old redfish, you couldn't give him away till he started advertising and he the one that started advertising the black and red fish and made it famous and everybody started wanting redfish.
Actually, that was what's his name? Paul Prudhomme or something like that?
Yeah, it was a
That
Cajun
dude did
thing.
that. And he would tell you that was an accident. He actually burnt the redfish, and it turned out being a good meal, and it got popular.
I always told folks to wrap them in a shoe tongue, bake them, that redfish, and throw the fish away and eat the shoe tongue. That's what I thought of it.
I know if anybody's interested, just go do a search for Jerry Clower or Justin Wilson on YouTube, and you can get you some laughs, and it's all clean humor. They're all clean humor.
In both Liberty, Mississippi, right nearby. Okay.
You know, Darren, we were talking last night about, how I would stream out to my audience. Now tonight, I got it up in the right-hand corner where it says I can stream, I can simulcast basically. I don't know what the difference was.
Figured it out?
I don't know.
It's
It automatically streams out. I was on Bill's show last night and it didn't pop. That choice did not pop up.
Oh, where you
You
put
know,
stream this to your audience, Charlie? You talk about your own audience. That,
Well, what if people who are subscribed to me,
Yep.
I'll put out this show right here will
Sure.
go out to them, and you can, he didn't have anybody going, he only had, let's say, 20 or 30 people. Well, I simulcast, and people that come to my show was notified that I was on
Yeah.
his show, and all that. Some people thought that it was my show, but it wasn't. And all that's how he got.
there's a place to mark that. I think you got to actually uncheck it. It's automatic that you can share it, and you have to uncheck it where people can't share it. So was it at the top like me and you talked about last
Right
night?
now, I'm looking up my right hand corner, and it
Yeah.
says stream this to your audience.
I've
Now,
got
last night he must have done something and then turned it off or something.
Yeah, there's a place in there where I can uncheck that where people can't do it. They can still do it, but they have to go through other channels to get there.
I wonder if
Yep,
that's
Mike, I started to call you Monday morning or text you to see if you were going, and realized that Monday wasn't the second Monday. It's next Monday. So we still got a chance if you want to go.
Look there. You think you got a buddy? Look at that one, Darren. You see him?
Yeah.
You got
What is
him.
he?
He's
He's a bird dog, isn't he?
English cocker.
Yeah.
He uses for flushing dogs on those shooting plantations in the South. That's how I ended up with him.
Yeah. Nice
He's my
dogs.
buddy.
How old is he?
About 4.
Yeah.
Give it here. Give it. Give it here. He's wanting to go outside. He has to do his thing. So I'm gonna take him out. That's
Better hurry.
yeah. Come on, buddy. Here.
Well, Joey, I'm going to take off, but it's good to get on your show
All
finally.
right.
So,
Well, we're going to see you next time, too.
yeah, next time I expect to win something, though.
Well, you have to try at least.
Yeah, I know. All right, I'll see you guys. See you, Charlie.
All right. See ya.
Appreciate you.
See you. Bye.
Hey, Tom and Melissa.
Hey, they finally got out of their meeting, huh?
Maybe.
What do they had a bee meeting tonight?
Yeah. I texted them, told them I was going on, or messaged them, and they said they were in a bee club meeting.
They're coming home. They're driving home now. Yeah, I got a meeting tomorrow night. I got a guy zooming in, going to talk about laying workers. And I'm like, well, all I can tell you is you shake them out in the grass and take the damn hive away. And that's the end of that story.
That's all I do.
I don't know what else he thinks he's going to
still
do.
get
Waste your time and money.
The easiest thing to do is shake those bees out and take your equipment. Those bees will find somewhere else to go the rest of their life.
That's right.
It's not like you're wasting them. They're going to go somewhere.
Well, it's not legal to be politicking now on our channel here. You either get on here and politic on here, or don't be politicking on the chat now.
They're driving home. But that's like I did that video. Well, actually, I did it on Sunday, and I just took the resources out of that nuke that was queenless, and along with the bees, the box, put them on some other nukes, and then the one box that had bees in it just shook it off on the ramp, let them walk up into the other hive, and all that stuff. So,
yeah, I do that pretty regular now. I used to try to requeen them, but once you get to that laying worker stage, it's just time to.
You're just fighting you're beating a dead horse on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
now
not going to say
what I did was
can't-
it wasn't laying worker, just queenless, but I caught it, head
Yeah,
and just it's like they say, what is it? Take your losses in the fall instead of in the spring.
yeah. Now, if
And
I got one I know is queenless out, and it's still got a lot of brood getting ready to hatch out, I might try to give them something. That might work, but once
this
they
one
get
here
where
had it had some brood in it, and it had queen cells in it. And I said, all right, well, let me see. There was drones at the time. And I said, well, let's see what happens. And I came back so many weeks later and everything. All the brood was, hatched and gone, and queen cells were gone. And I was like, forget it. Too late in the season for me.
yeah, I've done that too. Just combine them with something else. If they're
Well, that's
small
what I
and
did.
got a
That's
big
basically what I
I've
did.
done that too.
That's what I basically did, is combined them, just let them walk up into the other hives, and the 2 boxes that had stored honey in them, I gave them to other hives.
I did the same to one today, Charlie.
Yeah, but this guy, after got on, he's out in the Midwest someplace. He's going to talk about it and whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then the next guy we're having, let's see, November, I guess it is. He's going to talk about mite resistant amatraz or apivar, whatever you want to call it. And I said, yeah, sounds like that's be an interesting topic. What
I
they're
think they had
finding.
this, he's from Iowa. I think Tom and Melissa, their club had this boy. He was going to speak on reading the frames, however you do that. I haven't figured that out yet, how to read them. Tom's going to teach me what he learned tonight. Like he told me.
Yeah, well, the guy that we're looking at is he's Dr. John Zawislak.
Vishalak, he's the University of Arkansas.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Professor urban entomology for the University of Arkansas. Yep.
Yep.
Any good? Knows anything?
Nice fella. Nice, smart fella. Him and I'll tell you who he's buddies with David Burns.
Oh, yeah.
Not Greg Burns, David Burns. Got the big
the master beekeeper Burns.
EAS. Him and
Yeah. He David actually was here in Maryland. He drove all the way out to the community college where we used to have our meetings for a Maryland State Beekeepers Conference. And I don't know, it was, people weren't out of the Zoom mode at the time. They simulcasted it, and the majority of the people were on Zoom, and I'm thinking to myself, my gosh, what an embarrassment. Here's this guy that traveled all that distance, and there's 30 people, 40 people, in the room, but David's, like he says, he's a master beekeeper for beginners, and that's all he really teaches. And all that. But anyway, this guy here, he's going to talk about that. Personally, I already know the answers to it, and let it go at that, in my opinion. In the real world. But
Jason, I got your address. If they still in here. I don't know if he's still in here or not.
how many hives does Tyler run, Tom? If you're still on here, post how many hives.
who?
I was thinking a couple of 300, but I may be way off.
Tyler who?
Tyler Holton, he's that boy from up there in Iowa. He does some pollination. That's who they're talking about there, that Holton homestead. He was their speaker tonight on how to how to read your frames. I haven't learned that yet.
Well, I know Lanny Simone up in New Jersey. She had a how you read your frames presentation, and the other ones that I've seen on the internet, they were more or less talking about, well, these are eggs. If you see eggs, if you see cat brood, if you see larvae, you got a queen, and your basics and stuff like that. No, I didn't, Brian. Yeah, that Mike, that's next month. We're gonna have a guy talk about Amatraz resistance. I thought that was a very timely talk for the situation, where I like to say I'm using Amatraz or because of the heat and everything. And all. So Brian, have you heard this guy talk before? Anyway, I got to zoom him in and all that stuff.
Oh, you're still talking about Vishalak talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty interesting. He's a sharp cookie. He's got a doctor's degree.
Yeah.
That makes me smarter than anybody else. But I've heard him speak in the past. He can be interesting. He's a nice fellow.
All right. Well, like I say, I'm not nothing against the guy himself. I'm just looking at the topic,
Mm-hmm.
That was somebody else in our club picked the topic.
Yeah.
And all that.
I think he's a big wig in that EAS also, Charlie.
Yeah, he probably is. How can you access the talk, Darren? Well, I'd have to send you the link. I guess the best thing I can tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know, Darren, whether I got your email or not.
You see that comment, Charlie? I've heard people that's smarter than me talk about that, and it makes sense. You got young bees, you got a young queen, maybe not with a good strong pheromone. You're gonna have some of that until she gets to really lay in. It makes sense.
That's a fact, Roy. In my case, I'll second that.
That's world famous Mike Berry, Todd.
Mm-hmm. Drawing them in for miles around, aren't we, Joey? Huh? Drawing them in miles around to see me again, Joey.
They here to see all my guests. They ain't here to see me.
Well, if you keep running the same old man all the time, people's going to start banning you.
Hey, if they don't like my buddy, they can go.
Well, thank you. Not too many people say that, but me.
But see, the way I look at frames now, and I kind of see what's going on with it, and see if they're laying, bringing in the pollen, bringing in the nectar, everything look healthy. When I was taught that, just like Jennifer Brown used to always say, that's reading the frames, knowing what's going on in your hive. Are they backfilling? That all tells you something. When they're backfilling with nectar, or you just have to kind of know a little bit of what all is going on
Sure.
to know if that colony is healthy or not.
Mm.
Is the right thing happening? That's reading the frames to me. But
Well,
I'd love to hear somebody talk about that though. That's a good talk.
I'll find out from Tom and Melissa how this boy is a young fella. He's probably in his 30s, but runs a lot of hives, and he does. I think he goes to, like I said, I think he goes to California to the almonds with his hives in the winter, and his wife stays home, takes care of the farm and the animals and the whole bit. He got on his funny britches tonight there, Sauceman has
Yeah.
out there. He got on his funny pants. You know, there's a lot of truth to that when it comes down to talking about it, though. You can raise the lids on the hives and kind of get a pretty good idea, but by population and so forth, if the top's covered with bees, why that hive's not in too bad a shape, is it, fellas? If all you see is every frame
Yeah.
covered with bees, why I feel like it's in pretty good shape before I ever dig into it.
Yeah. And if you puff them with smoke and they kind of go down, that's a
Yeah.
good sign. If you puff them
Yeah.
with smoke and they start flying, that's a
Yeah.
bad sign.
Yeah.
That's another read. That means
Mm.
that's robber bees.
I think we were talking the other night about, someone or Tom Softness is asking why would you have landing boards? And I said, well, I like landing boards because you can look at that and kind of tell before what kind of, I feel like you can kind of tell what kind of shape your hive's in just by looking at the landing board and the bee activity on it, what they're doing. We were talking the other night. I don't know who was that on. Was that on your chat, Joy, about the one they asked about the landing board deal and why they had them? The old timers. I think the reason you talk about those slanted entrances.
Yeah.
Was you in on that conversation, you and Charlie?
No, I don't think so.
I don't.
was.
I remember that. I don't know. They had the
The
slanted
people
boards.
used to have on the farms used to have one or two hives. Nobody had, had pallets or, there was all individual hives, kind of like the way Charlie's got his there, and they just set them on those boards where they'd have an entrance, where the bees would come up on them. I think that's the reason where that all started from. Day Down still
I've got
sells the
some
doggone
that don't
things.
have
I
a
don't know
landing
why
board.
anybody'd want them, but I guess there's folks that do. But that's just my opinion.
I've got some that don't even have a landing board. Let's see something here.
It's me again, Joe.
I'm gonna turn this part here off.
You gonna get stung for us again here, are you? Or what?
See that right there?
Yep.
That's
That
some
ain't
I've
good.
Huh?
That's not a good sign.
Now that just happened to be where the picture is. Let's see. See those? I don't even have landing boards on those hives. Let me see if I can back it up a little bit. This video is coming out tomorrow, but I built several of those bottoms like that without landing boards on them. They work just as good. But anyway, I just thought I'd show you that. Y'all there?
He's trying to tell us he's got to go to work tomorrow, Joy. Your buddy.
I can't even click on it. Yeah. I get up at 4:00 just to make sure my clock's set.
Yeah, I do too. I'm usually going fishing.
I saw one guy that retired before me. He'd come in to sign some paperwork at work one time, and they asked him how was retirement. He said, "Man, it's so good." He said, "I set the alarm clock just to remind me to take a nap every now and then." None of my long hives have landing boards either. They just got a hole to fly into. See you later, Mike.
Well, guys,
We've
it's
been on here
10:30.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
2:15.
Yeah.
2 hours and 15 minutes. That's how long me and you've been on.
16 now. 16 now.
Yeah. Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun, don't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about to run my eyes.
I'm gonna
Go ahead.
go ahead and say good night to everybody in the chat and go ahead and end the stream. And y'all have a good night.